Okay, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Finally, we are doing another Q&A show. It has been, I was so sad to have to cancel it last week, but I was feeling so bad. But we are back. And then the week before last week, we had our cybersecurity week. So me and Socks were kicking it, talking about cybersecurity type stuff. But we are back to our regularly scheduled program, Q&A. We will be having cybersecurity maybe in about two or 3 weeks. I have to check the calendar to see and talk to Socks to see when we're going to schedule it. But when we have our next one, so it's probably going to be 3 weeks because it should be right after Socks launches Socks U, so you can get your get your cybersecurity education on. All right. So with that being said, let's get started. If you do not know who I am your host, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. So like I said, tonight is Q&A. We are going to run through it tonight. We're not going to be here all night because guess what? We have things to do. We are busy. So let's just get straight to it. Let's get into our agenda and then we're going to get into our questions, not wasting any time. So first and foremost, I want to give a big thank you to all of our newest subscribers. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
We are growing rapidly. We are just continuing to deliver good content, hitting you guys with things that matter to you. I see that the identity and access management video is doing great. People are really enjoying it. People are reaching out to me about how they can get more information about it, how they can get into it. So that is all good. And then we had a fun bug bite episode last week about the Tesla humanoids, the Optimus Gen 2 robots, and that was doing great too. People were loving that. So we have fun, but we also work here on the Tech Coach Ralph channel. So I'm happy to be adding value into your life as always. So that being said, let's continue with our agenda. So like I said, thank you to all of the newest subscribers. Shout out to the Tech Barbarians who consistently put in that work. Like I said, like we're doing on Sunday, we're working on deploying the software that they built. So I'm going to keep working on that throughout the week to get that deployed through AWS Amplify, which reminds me, tomorrow on the episode of Software Explorations, the concept and overviews, we have I'm going to be talking about AWS Amplify, so look out for that. Very, very cool software. So with our agenda, so if you're new to the channel, I hope to add great value into your life. So I would ask you to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. You can stay informed with all the amazing content that we're releasing on a daily basis. And of course, like the video, share the video, check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev, where you can definitely sign up for free. And then you can see all the things that we have in there, from the videos that we drop to the one-on-one coaching sessions that I offer. So definitely check that out. All right, so now let's get into our live show schedule. So we have Sunday afternoons, software explorations. We are working through Terraform. This past Sunday, I worked on using AWS Amplify with Terraform, and we got 90% of the way there, maybe 95% of the way there. So I just need to tweak something so I can finish up that deployment. So maybe on next Sunday, I will be able to show what I accomplished as we get back into Terraform. Next Sunday, this coming Sunday, it is going to be New Year's Eve, right? So we're not going to be there forever, but we are going to put in that work every single, like, we don't miss, right? We work because we have goals. We have places that we're trying to get to. So, and we have things that we're trying to learn because, I talked about me using Terraform at work this past Sunday, and it was a great experience. Learned a lot. So, things are definitely different in a personal environment versus a work environment. So, and I'll touch on it again this coming Sunday. Tuesday nights, we have our Q&A sessions like we have tonight. I forgot to mention, but tonight is Tuesday, December 26th, 2023. We are almost at the end of the year. Just four more days until the end of the year, right? So, I mean, this day is pretty much over. So we're just working our way towards there. And then we have Thursday nights, software explorations. We will be back this Thursday to continue with our software explorations. Maybe I will continue the AWS Amplify because I want to get that finished. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. I'll figure that out. And then we have the morning shows, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7:15 a.m. Coffee and Kata, where we have some coffee, and then we review some news stories, and we do some coding challenges. Tomorrow we didn't do a coding challenge yesterday. We just stuck with the news because it was Christmas, and we wanted to take it a little bit easy, But we will definitely be back. Rock paper scissors challenge tomorrow morning for sure, right? So one more time, let's run through our live show real quick. Sunday afternoons, software exploration. We were working through Terraform. Tuesday nights, Q&A sessions. Thursday nights, software explorations. And then the morning show, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Time, Coffee and Kata, news and coding challenges. So that is our live shows. And if we move on into our pre-recorded show content, we have Mondays, Candid Conversations. I had a great one yesterday talking about sometimes you just got to say, okay, right? Dust the dirt off your feet, dust off your shoulders, and you say, okay, cool, you got it, right? So Mondays, Candid Conversations. Wednesdays, Software Explorations, Concepts and Overviews. We are going to be exploring a little bit more AWS Amplify tomorrow, so definitely tune in for that. And then Fridays, we have the Bug Bite, like I mentioned, the Tesla humanoid Optimus Gen 2 robots were on fire this past Friday. And then we are going to have another episode of the Bug Bite this coming Friday. So definitely tune in for that. Then throughout the week, we drop additional content. That is we drop the clips from this particular Q&A show, right? We drop little clips of that on Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And then there's other content that we might drop here and there, but nothing set in stone for those. So definitely, that's why I say you have to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can know every time we drop new content, because you might not be interested in all of it, but I guarantee you're going to be interested in some of it, whether it's Candid Conversations, you need that pick me up, or it's the Bug Bite to get some humor, or you want to listen to some software explorations to stay up to date with different softwares and see how you can leverage that to level up your technical skills. All right. So just wanted to share that with you. The very next thing I want to talk to you about is one of my favorite places to help me level up my technical skills, and that is Chaos Camp. My good friend Don created the GitHub repo for Chaos Camp, where he puts in all these different coding challenges, like I mentioned, we are working through the rock paper scissors challenge, and we're almost done with that. But I like to take my time so you can see the full level of testing and the thought process that goes on behind accomplishing these challenges, right? So, we went inside the rock paper scissors. We added a health endpoint. We reported a bug. We opened up a suggestion. We are automating the testing. I think the point that we're at now is to do the randomness check to make sure the computer is randomly returning results. So that's what we're going to be working on tomorrow. But it's been so fun, and we are about to wrap it up. But we're definitely going to pick another Chaos Camp challenge to get into and see what we can do with that. Right. So I just wanted to share that with you. I love working on the Chaos Camp challenges. It is you get to experience real world software development and QA situations. So I would definitely recommend you check that out. The next thing I want to mention is check out. And let me post the. I'm going to post the GitHub for Chaos Camp in the chat, and it should be post. It should be also posting throughout the night as well. But I just wanted to definitely shout that out. So there it is. And then the next one I want to talk about is check out Sock's breakdown of his amazing roadmap of getting into cybersecurity. So many people want to get into cybersecurity, but they don't know how. Like they'll come and say, I want to get into cybersecurity. I have no idea what cybersecurity is, right? So with that being said, my good friend Socks did a breakdown of his roadmap to get inside cybersecurity. And I'm going to post a link to his YouTube video where you can also find his diagram on how to get into cybersecurity. And it should also be posting throughout the night in the chat as well. So definitely check all of those out. All right. So with that being said, we are about to get into our show. But before we go any further, I want to ask you one last time to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time we go live, like the video, share the video, all of that good stuff. And check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev so you can level up your technical skills with me, Tech Coach Ralph. All right. So how is this show going to go? Right. So by the way, I got this little loop deck or Razer stream controller thing, but I'm still setting it up. So I have a bunch of stuff going on over here. I'm still transitioning some things over. But with that being said, I will continue to use my faithful soundboard with the iPad. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to put the timer up. And the format's going to go, we are going to put 5 minutes on the clock. We are going to read the question, start the timer, and we will go from there, okay? So get a sip of water before we get started. All right. That right here. Oh, by the way, I started putting together my Infinity Gauntlet Lego set. So far, it's pretty interesting. First time doing a Lego set, and it's pretty interesting, but I don't know. I will have to talk to my good friend China at Cafe Corner about it once I get done to share my experience and all that good stuff, right? But that's what we're talking about right now. We are going to get to our Q&A. So I am going put the 5 minutes on the clock. And get to our questions. So let's see. When the timer runs out, you'll hear, and then we'll probably be wrapping the question up. So sometimes, like we put 5 minutes, but sometimes, normally we go over. But it is all good, all right, because it's my time, and you guys need the answers, so we're gonna go with that, all right. So, with that being said, let's go with. And if you want to call in as well, there is the link to call in that is in the description, and it should be also going through the chat. So feel free to click that link as well if you want to call in and ask me a question. All right. I am open to taking your calls as well. So whatever you want to do, I am here for you. Okay. So let's get to it. Oh, wait, you know what? We actually got a question before I even got to my question. So let's get to J Dub. All right, let's go like this.
Another one.
So J Dubs asks, greetings. I was looking at becoming a software engineer. Where should I start? So that is a great question. And let's start our timer. So I will answer that question, J Dubs. Where should you start? So it depends on what kind of software engineer that you are interested in becoming. So I would say that would probably be the first place to start to find out, okay, where your interests are first. And you can also answer in the chat, and then we can have a conversation about it. But I would say start off with like where your interests are, right? So are you interested more on like the back end where it's not as visible what you're working on? So for instance, you might be like creating APIs, you might be writing some backend code to power some type of stuff. Or are you interested in like more of the front end or like web development where it's more visual, more like it's somewhat creative, but not necessarily like it could be creative, right? But there is but you're more writing the code that is going to be visible to like it could be a website, it could be a mobile application, things that are visible, right? So I would say probably the starting spot is to figure out what exactly route you want to take, right? You like because they can be different routes. Right? So the front end, perfect. So I would say if you want to get in the front end, probably the first part you're going to start getting into is in the like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So my recommendation to you would be to start getting involved in like get a course, right? I personally like to go very low cost to get started, so I can see if this is something that I'm into, if it's something that I'm going to like. Instead of like, because a lot of people they'll run out and get a boot camp and then they pay a bunch of money for it, and it's like now it's like I didn't really like it and I spent a bunch of money. So what I would say is try Udemy course, right? You can either get a Udemy plan for like 16 to 20, 30 bucks a month, or you can buy a course while it's on sale for like 10 to 20 bucks a month, right? Start taking that course. And the course that I would personally recommend to you is the what is it called? The Full Stack Web Development course by Dr. Angela Yu. And I'll put the link in the chat, right? I'll put the link for you because I took that course. And I already knew HTML, CSS, but it helped me a lot with JavaScript, helped me a lot with Mongo, helped me a lot with React, with Express, a bunch of stuff. Like it's really comprehensive. It teaches you everything, right? Let me find the course for you. And I'll put the link in the chat. But like that's the course that I normally recommend to most people to get started. They have you do like a bunch of, there it goes right here. The complete 2023 web development bootcamp. And they're probably going to update the name to 2024 in a little bit. But they recycled the course. But it's very relevant. It helped me a lot. And I would say that would be a very good starting point. If you go, and she's a very, very good teacher too, right? Copy, link address. I'm going to put it in the chat for you. So I would recommend getting started with that one. Get it on discount right now on my browser. It currently says it's $18.99, so that's a great price. And I'll just read through some of the stuff that you'd be going through. I'm going to read through the section titles, right? And it's a pretty long course, right? So for like 20 bucks, it is 62 hours of on-demand video, 7 coding exercises, 66 articles, So total, like it is very comprehensive stuff that you can learn. So the next thing though, after you go through this course, you're going to want to like find real things you can apply it to, right? So think like so what like what I normally do while I'm going through these courses, I'm also thinking about okay, what can I build? Because I don't like to follow this stuff um like word for word to for less of a better thing to say. But like I like to like think, okay, how can I apply this to something that I want to work on so it can stick a little bit more, right? So high level, some of the things it covers, right? So it talks about front end web development. That's the like getting you introduced to the course, introduction to HTML, intermediate HTML, multi-page websites, so like how to link them together, introduction to CSS, CSS properties, intermediate CSS, advanced CSS, something called Flexbox where you can like widen the boxes and shorten them and stuff like that. Something with the grid. So then it talks about Bootstrap CSS, which is very useful. It has you create a project for a personal site. Then it gets you into JavaScript, ES6, intermediate JavaScript, the document object model, creating a game. Like so many different things. Because like when I did it, they had me create like a Simon Says game or like a memory game, which would be really cool for kids. I was like, oh man, I can like start creating games, but I'm not. My mind isn't as creative, right? But yeah, you can create games. So many different things, right? Working with Node, it teaches you GitHub and Git and version control, creating APIs, so many different things. Like it's really really cool, right? So I definitely get started with that. And then it even talks. So I haven't like so they added this part after I took the course, but they talk about like Web3 stuff, decentralized apps. And the good thing is with these courses, after like once you buy it, it's yours forever, right? So when they add new things to the course, you can always go back and take those new sections to continue learning. So I definitely have to go back and take this go through this new section as well. But so many things, SQL, Postgres, databases, so many things. Like it's very very comprehensive. So I would definitely recommend that course. And what you can do as well, like as you go through it, right? Because one thing I normally recommend is like, especially when you're doing like these online courses, get a mentor, right? Where you can make sure that you're on the right path. If you have any questions to ask to somebody, that you can ask questions and stuff like that. And you can always stop by over here, like, and let me know your progress. Let me know what's going on. If you have any particular questions, I will do my best to answer that question for you. Even if I don't have the question for you right away, I can always like if you leave me a comment in one of these videos, I'll make sure that I get it, or you can send me an email and we can talk. I just want to make sure that you are getting it, that you're on the right path. So that would be my recommendation on how to actually get started, which is by low barrier to entry. Start taking the course and talk to me. Talk to anyone who else who is a software engineer. Because one thing about us, we love to help, right? Like we love to help, and we would ask us questions. Like anytime somebody asks me a question, I definitely do my best to answer. And you ask, how do you find a mentor? One way that I would recommend, which don't tell anybody, this is just between you and me, right? Because this is like my Patreon level information. But I would say find another software engineer, because us in the tech industry, we love to help, right? But the thing is, a lot of people like they don't really reach out. They're kind of reluctant. So I would say that one of the strategies that I would say is like go find someone, people on LinkedIn, and tell them that hey, you're looking for a mentor. You're learning software engineering. You're taking this course, and you just want to know, find a couple of them, like because you don't want to bother the same person all the time. But you say, hey, go on LinkedIn, find software engineers, credible, who are open to helping, and just ask them. Say, hey, do you mind mentoring me? And you ask them, and there you go. Simple as that. Not too hard. Oh my goodness. Look who we have here. Let me do this. I told him to take the night off, but wait, he took off. He took off. All right, if he comes back, I will definitely get him on. But I had my good friend Andrew creep by on the call. So I was going to try to bring him on, but then he disappeared. So Andrew, if you are listening and you have some time, come back. All right, come back and just hang out. So yeah, J Dubs. That's pretty much that's how I would do it. Like just find go where the people that you are like that have the same interests as you, right? Go there, and then they will. I'm pretty sure most of them will be willing to help. So you just have to ask, all right? You just have to ask, all right? So, and I appreciate you too.
I appreciate you.
All right, I am going to bring up somebody onto the stream. Let's do this. Let me wrap up this question, and then we are going to. I see you, Mr. Andrew. I'm gonna bring you up. All right, hold on. We got this right here. Mhm. What's going on, Mister?
What's up, brother?
All good, all good. I told you to take the night off.
Yeah, I told my wife. She said, "Hey, go out and go talk to a real adult for a little while." So I got a little bit of time.
All right, nice. Let me I'm gonna bring you onto the screen with me. Give me a second. Let's see. All right, you are live with me. Say what's up to everybody.
What's up, everybody?
All right.
It's Andrew.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I meant to do this earlier, but what happened?
No, I'm with you. I heard
I just wanted to congratulate you for your new son. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Happy to hear that.
Yeah, man, it was a wild time because honestly, he was supposed to be born tomorrow, but the doctor, we had our our little checkup, and the doctor said, "Hey, how about we get him out tomorrow?"
You're like tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. So it's been great, man. He's been hilarious so far. So
That's awesome.
I can't complain.
That's awesome. Happy to hear that. Happy to hear that. All right. So I wish I could get. Give me a second. Let me see if I can do this here. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. There we go. Awesome. All right. So we are going to. So I just finished answering a question, right? J Dubs in my chat was asking. He was looking at becoming a software engineer. Where should he get started? So I asked him if it was front end or back end, and he said front end. So I recommended a Udemy course that I took to for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and all the other like full stack stuff. So you have any recommendation, any advice on that before we get into our next question?
No, but I did see one more question that he asked. He's asked, where did you find your mentor? And
Yeah.
that is a good question because you kind of hit on it earlier that people want to help. They're just not approached to be helpful, right? A very funny story. I was really just browsing around LinkedIn, and someone messaged me like, "Hey," like a genuine message, not like an AI bot, just like, "Hey, I saw that you went to Coastal, Shant's up. And then I'm trying to be a QA automation engineer. I do manual work right now. Do you mind taking some time just to figure out what a path is for that?" Okay, great. Yeah, I would love to do that. So now, that was a few months ago, and we've talked, and I've been helping her or mentoring her through a project that she's been interested in to make her job move a lot quicker, right? So it's just like, as long as you ask, people are willing to help, right?
Mhm.
The project that she's doing is really cool. She asked for my advice, and then I'm like, it's my advice. This is my opinion. I don't want to, put my thumb on what your project is going to be, right? So this is what I would suggest, but whatever you want to do, we'll do it. And she's like, "All right, let's do it like that." Okay, so now we're in this learning process together, right? So it's really just like a good bond of mentor mentee and understanding how to just teach someone or show them a different way.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like I've always found in the tech industry people to be like super helpful, right? Whether it's within your company or it's like random people that like, for instance, in the Slack that like we're always giving information, right? It's like there's nothing like, oh, I'm not going to tell you, it's like, oh, like
Right.
here's
We're
all the
never going to
information, here's everything
gatekeep
I
that
know.
information.
So and it's like even at work, like I'll ask developers on whatever, and they'll take like a bunch of time to like try to help me figure things out so that I can be more useful and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. So really, as long as you ask the question, people don't mind helping out. Like, we would never know, Jay, that you wanted to be a software engineer if you never asked, right? So, they always say a closed mouth starves in every season. So,
So yeah, so definitely J Dubs, like as you go through the process and through the course, definitely check in with us. Ask any questions in the chat or reach out, like send me an email, whatever the case may be, and we are here for you. All right. So let's get into another question. Let me set it up. Oh, before I get to another question, I want to say shout out to my good buddy Operation Tech Takeover. He says, "Sorry, I'm late. Had work had me in a chokehold. Oh, that's tough." And he says, "I like that Star Wars shirt, Andrew." All right. So let's get to our next question. Let's see here. And it's going to be a kind of a long one, all right? So bear with me.
Another one.
So, so this one says, daily panic attacks. Is it possible to switch to freelance? I've been in QA for 6 years, but just recently started having panic attacks pretty much every day before work. It even sent me to the hospital last week. I I can't read this. I'm the only QA at my job, and it is high stress, a lot of work. I was the only QA at my previous place as well, but this product is a billion times more complicated, but also critical to our clients' jobs. So basically, when something breaks, and it does often, all hell breaks loose, and I end up working 12 hours a day. I don't think medical leave is possible at my job, especially because I just started last month. Unemployment isn't an option. The max in my state isn't even enough to pay rent and utilities at our current place, and we aren't in the position to move. Can't read that. It's too funny. All of this to say, even though I've been a QA for years and I am a senior, now it's been pretty isolated work. I don't know much about QA outside of these products, so I don't know about the job market or culture at all. I was a full stack dev before I switched to QA. Oh, this is definitely going to be yours to give insight, Drew. I had recently graduated from a boot camp, so I don't have a degree. Can I do work as freelance QA? How do I get started? Any other suggestions? That is the question. I'm going to throw the 5 minutes up on the clock, and this is all you.
oh man, all right, 5 minutes. Here we go. So my first initial thought is I'm sorry that you are in this particular situation. If I was in this, 1 month in, I would go ahead and quit. Hey, this is not the job for me because your health is more important than their work. It worked fine before you got there. If it didn't, that sounds like a them problem. It's going to work fine when you leave. That sounds like a them problem. All right. So that's that work scenario. That's that situation. You have the skills, you have the talent, you have like experiences, you have the boot camps, right? So it's not that you don't know what to do. You just go out there and go do it, right? Like anything is better than doing what you're doing. The reason Ralph is laughing is because, like, yo, ain't no way in the H word. Don't want to get you demonetized, sir. But ain't no way in the H word. I'm working 12 hours every day because of one. Nah, let me tell you. At 5, I close that thing. That sounds like a them problem. It depends on the situation, right? I'm not 100% like detached to the work, but man, like if you have the skills to do, any type of coding, right? So if you were a front end developer, so React, JavaScript, all of these things, and then back end work, right? So actually Java, C#, SQL, because that's a full stack developer. You can go anywhere and go do almost anything else other than what you're doing, right? So don't pigeonhole yourself just because you're at this one job. Like, start looking. Yes, the market is crazy out there, but with the right resume and the right coaching, you'll be able to land a spot quickly. So keep your head up, and I'm really sorry for your panic attacks, but man, that's a negatory, ghostwriter.
So I'm gonna say that I don't know how good this person's resume actually is or how bad it is, right? And I don't know, panic attacks like overwork, that's a little bit extreme. And if someone's getting panic attacks at work, it's hard for me to believe that they're not paranoid everywhere they go. All right. I'm just saying, all right. And because like now, let's say they can't handle the work, it's too hard for them and everything like that. I didn't see them say anything about talking to their manager to see like what's going on. Why is it so like, like about the situation. But I don't know. Like we were just saying, like whenever you ask for help, it usually comes, right? So I'd say number one, before you just go and quit your job, and then now you're gonna be writing another post talking about like you're unemployed and the job market is so hard and it's so crappy.
Now, the first post would be that these two guys on the internet told me to quit my job.
I didn't say quit. So. I would never say quit because I don't want to be like,
I'm in a bind, Nate.
I'd be like, hey, that was all I drew right there.
Hey,
nah, but
I'm 100% for it. Like, yo, if you like cooking, bro, go work at a restaurant. Like, go do something else other than tech. Like you said, who's to say that you're not having a panic attack everywhere? You know what I mean? Like, maybe tech isn't for you, right? And this is one of the things that I get into a lot when I talk to people. It's like, what is it that you really want to do, right? If it's tech, then go do it, right? But just know that it comes with its waves. Like it's great when it's great, but when it's bad, it's bad. Like almost 300,000 people were laid off this year, across all different sectors in the tech industry. So it's like, I mean, I'm part of that group. And it's like, I still want to be in tech because this is something I enjoy. Right now, if you're just in it because, you can get a 6-week boot camp to teach you how to code, and then you're trying to get that $100,000 and not work, you're trying to get that Netflix check, right? Where Netflix is saying that they're paying like $700,000 a year, but you don't want to do the work. It's like, I mean, it comes with the territory. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to know how to be a part of it. Like, you either love it or you hate it. And I always tell people, if you don't love this, don't do it, because the mental strain, the eye strain, like everything is a strain. Like, yes, the brain is just working all the time. So It's like, if you can't handle that part, then go do something else personally, right? And I'm a huge advocate for go cook, go if you want to go chop wood and go put YouTube videos on you chopping wood, people will watch it and then you become famous, so it just depends on what you want to do.
I mean, I started putting together some Legos, Infinity Gauntlet tonight. That's how far I
See?
got. So I mean, to wrap this one up, I'll just say that stop getting panic attacks. Just study your product harder. And I mean, like Andrew said, if you want to be in tech, like panic attacks is not gonna fix it. Trying to take a leave of absence is not gonna fix it because the job will be right there when you get back. So just work harder, study, get more familiar with your product, ask for help, and but if you quit, you'll get replaced. And let us know when you quit so we can apply for it. So it's all good. All right. Wrapping that one up. Thank you for that one, Andrew. All right. So J-Dub said he is glad he asked as well. Thank you, J-Dubs. And Operation Tech Takeover said, he said, what did I do? I'm not wild. What are you talking about? All right. He also said, that sounds like he is doing work in the medical field. That is the bull crap we deal with. I have worked 120 hours every 2 weeks for the last year at Jesus Christ, 120 hours? That's 60 hours a week. Oh, okay. I mean, that's a lot, but yeah.
See, when you put it like that, right? Saying 60 hours a week is a lot different than saying 120 hours every 2 weeks.
I do the math in my head. I mean, it is a lot because especially like, if I'm not mistaken, like, Tech Takeover, do you like drive from like place to place and stuff like that? Because if you're doing like that is a lot of strain, like 60 hours of driving and stuff like that, like visiting a bunch of offices. So if that's the type of medical work you're doing, oof, I don't want no part of that. Because like when I was working at a pharmaceutical company, and the reps would like be going to all these different doctor's offices and stuff, that's serious. So that is definitely not for me. So sales is not my part. All right, let's go to our next question.
Another one.
Is a software development engineer and test a good career, or am I doomed? I just don't know. Everywhere I see, all careers except SDETs are getting hyped. In fact, all I see is SDET as a career is not fancy, and sometimes I am ashamed. They said ashamed to tell people. I don't feel the value of SDET / testing. It may sound weird coming from a SDET / QA. Very few companies, clients invest in quality. FANG have very few QA / SDET roles. Many teams are actually moving away from QA as devs are taking up the role. SDETs offer nothing special. Like SDETs / QAs aren't paid like devs and under pressure always. Nothing cutting edge about it. I am sorry if it comes across as negative, but more time I stay in the role, I am questioning myself. So I'm gonna put the 5 minutes up on the clock, and I am going to answer that real quick, and then I'm gonna toss it over to Drew. So, I like my company. We don't have the title of SDET. We just have QA engineers. So like different levels. So like you have QA engineer. She starts with QA specialist, QA engineer 2, senior QA engineer, lead, staff, principal, something like that, right? I'm in the senior, like mix, like I'm like senior, probably trying to get to the lead soon, right? But I'll tell you this, I do Terraform, I write a bunch of code. Sometimes I sneak in and make a little bit of code change when the developers let me. What else do I do? I've written postmortems. Um, I don't know. I just insert myself into different places, right? And I just go and do stuff. And then I say, hey, can I do this? They're like, oh, sure. And then I go and I do it, and then I learn something. So, and then not to mention like all the automation stuff and always pushing forward, always trying to be innovative and stuff like that. So, um, and at least my company, at least they are very, very big on quality. They have like they really think through their quality processes, their metrics and stuff like that. So I would say if you feel that your company is not valuing QA and as that, then you're probably not inserting yourself well enough, and you are not like you're just sitting around waiting for orders and directions instead of pushing quality things forward and trying to get more involved. Calling it like what they call it shift left. So you know you need to get QA more involved and more on the map. I think it's your responsibility, and if you think that someone is just going to give you the opportunity, then it's just not going to happen. It's up to you to make it happen. So that is my thought on it. I do a bunch of innovative stuff, and I think that everyone has the opportunity. You just have to go out there and get it. No one's going to give it to you, so no one knows you anything. All right, all you, Drew.
All right, so I love this question, to be completely honest, right? I go into interviews and they ask me, what do I think is the difference between like a QA engineer or a SDET or vice versa, right? And it depends on the company, right? So you can have the term SDET and that can mean 22 different things. An SDET can be someone that does 100% code, right? They're dealing with DevOps, they're creating Ansible projects, they're doing Terraform, they're doing stuff that you're doing, right? Things that you're talking about, creating Docker images, creating Docker platforms, running, basically they're a DevOps engineer that does tests, right? So that's one. You can literally be an SDET and do 100% manual, right? It just depends on the company because they want someone that has the knowledge, quote unquote, to do automation, but we're just not in that frame right yet, right? We're hiring for the potential to do automation in the future. Okay, you could be 50-50, where you're doing automation and you're doing manual. And by automation, we're talking about regression testing. We're talking about writing end-to-end test suites. Using Cucumber or Robot or those sorts of projects or those sorts of frameworks, while also doing manual testing. That can be an SDET. Or you can be an SDET that's doing 50-50, where you're doing 50% of the back-end infrastructure stuff, like you was talking about with Terraform, and then doing 50% of the automation, doing regression testing, making sure that every test that comes through is working properly, right? So it just depends on what type of role you're at, what company you're at, and how you see yourself adding value. I mean, you kind of hit it on the head. Like, what are you doing? And don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm out here trying to reinvent the wheel. If things are working, hey, that's work. But as soon as something breaks, that's my opportunity to go in there and be like, hey, here's a way to make this better. I can add tests around this part to make this work better. I have always said this. This is something that is one of my huge taglines for my interviews. It's like being a QA or an SDET is like being the offensive line in football, right? You have, let me paint a picture. You have your quarterback. That's like, the project manager. They're calling the plays and making sure everyone is running it correctly. You have a running back. Those are your developers. Those are your DevOps engineers. Those are the people that people come to see, right? Everyone knows Justin Jefferson. Everyone knows the great running backs. Everybody knows these sorts of people. But then no one talks about the offensive line, and that's the QA, right? They're under the most pressure. They're talked about all the time. But when a team has a great offensive line or a horrible offensive line, right? When they have a great offensive line, the quarterback is running great, the running backs are running, people are catching the ball, the quarterback's not getting hit. When it's terrible, everyone's like, yo, this team sucks. They're 0-100, right? And that's kind of what it is being QA. You are there to do grunt work. You are there to talk to everyone. You are there to do things that people don't want to do. And you have to put a smile on your face and keep it moving because that's your job, right? If you're not, like, I played offensive line and defensive line, so that resonates with me a lot in terms of my personality of what I'm working in. And it's like, I'm not going to get this. I'm not going to get the limelight. I'm not writing these major algorithms. I'm not, talking to the clients and making sure that everything is great. But I'm talking to the team and making sure, like, hey, we don't put out no bad product, right? I'm making sure that if there are tests that are written, they're written well. There's no flakiness. There are no ambiguity. It is a very clean machine. The object of being a good QA is that people don't know that you're there, right? And I mean, you would think with that, that's like that's how I live. That's how I see that position, because QA is one of those very stressful. The last person kind of talked on it being very stressed every day. It's like, yeah, it's very stressful. Like, you are the last line of defense, and if it breaks, people don't look at the devs that wrote it. They look at the person that's testing it, and that's just the way it goes. So I hate to say, I'm very sorry for this person. You feel like SDET is not for you. You're just underglorified, but that's just the name of the game, my dog. So
I think as well though that because you said something like if it's not like broken, don't fix it or something like that. But you can also make things better, right? Like let's say for instance, you like there's a way that things are done, right? And it works, but it's not efficient, and you're like, oh, I could probably write this script that does it this way, or I can, instead of like setting up this infrastructure manually, let me go and figure out how I can do it with Terraform. Or maybe we can see if we can save some costs by using AWS Device Farm, right? And that way, you make suggestions and you like, because people love saving money, right? So you make suggestions, you try to like give different ideas, and it might not hit, it might not take, but the fact that you're actually putting stuff out there, you're contributing, then they're also going to see that, okay, like this person actually cares. They're trying to push our initiative forward. So that's adding value, right? So you need to be able to look at these different spots. And I think that being in the SDET spot or the QA engineer spot, whatever the role that you fall into at whatever company you are, you just need to look at like, okay, how can I contribute? And when you contribute, people are going to see it. If you're just sitting around, like, all you're going to do is like click this button, no one's really going to like, it's not going to mean as much, right? But if you are looking to say, okay, we have this problem, and sometimes people don't even know that there's a problem, right? But you can see, oh, I was looking into this, and this is what I suggest this, and then they can take that, and you can go back and you can modify. You just throw out the idea, and then you get more ideas, and then you build off of that. So I think that there is more that you can do than just like sit around and hope and wait, So, all right, let's wrap up that question. Tech Takeover said he is on the clinical side, but he drives 45 minutes to an hour to work and back. Same building, just different areas. I was working 7 days a week. Oh my goodness. Not as much now, but it's been a crazy year. Whew, I will, you see, and this is why I stick to tech, right? I mean, trust me, there are some times that you might have to work over the weekend and stuff like that. Or you might have to deploy over the weekend, or there might be some production issue that's happening at like 3:00 in the morning. But that is not every day. You know what I mean? So Tech Takeover.
Oh yeah. Before you get on to your next subject, it's very funny that you say that. I used to work as a control engineer, and I used to do AC units, right? So I used to do the flow patterns or the flow controls for AC units and for huge like hospitals or military bases, those sorts of things. And it's like I'm doing this in the middle of the summer, right? In Charleston, right? And you got to wear long sleeves because it's for safety, right? And it's like I don't want to do this, 5, 6 days out of the week from sun up to sundown. I don't want to do this. So I made it a point there. I went into more classes right after I already graduated with a computer science degree, but I went into more classes, went into more like boot camps around town just to get my face in there, just so I can not be working in the middle of the sun during the summertime doing that type of work. So, like you said, I'm so glad that I chose tech.
Yeah. Because I will choose working in the AC and like uh, high mind stress, like thinking through like code and stuff like that, like trying to work on the same thing over and over again, than being out there in the sun getting beat down and stuff like that,
100%.
So, and Tech Takeover says that is why he's trying to transition. So, hey, trust me, whether it is the SDR or whether it is the software engineering, we're gonna get you over the line, all right, bro? So, so all right, let's get to and if you ever have to drop Drew, just let me know and we're good, all right? But just let me know. I'm here for you. Oh, he just said
That's exactly what I was texting you. That's exactly what I was
just
saying.
saw it in the back chat right now.
That's literally what I was saying right now.
All right, cool. All right, appreciate you stopping by. And thank you for taking the time, and say goodbye to everyone, and see you next time you're up.
See you guys. This was great, man. Thanks for having me on, Ralph.
Appreciate
I
it. Appreciate it.
brother.
All right, take care.
Yep.
All right, let's go back to our full screen, and you are back with me. So, thank you, Drew, but he has to go tend to the family, to the newborn. So you got me again. Sorry. All right. So let's get to our next question. Drew would like this one too.
Another one.
ISTQB exam. Hi, I wanted to ask, is an ISTQB exam enough to get an entry-level job? Don would like this one too. I'm asking because I can't really afford a full degree right now. I also have some prior experience being a freelance tester. On a side note, I'm looking for some resources to learn. Are Udemy courses worth it? Well, as you saw, I just recommended to my good buddy J Dubs that I recommend him a Udemy course. So I would definitely recommend a Udemy course as well, so that you can get started. Not started, but to get more familiar with QA. You said you have some freelance tester experience. I'm not really sure what that means. But to answer your main question, I am going to say that 5 minutes on the clock, that the ISTQB is definitely not, I repeat, it is not enough to get an entry level job. Why do I say it's not enough? Because, well, I'll say this, right? For all the years that I have been interviewing for QA and stuff like that, I have never looked if someone was ISTQB certified. I've never, I think I've seen probably on 1 or 2 applications or job postings that ISTQB was required or preferred or something like that. Usually what I see, if a company wants you to get ISTQB certified, they will pay for it. ISTQB is not, from what I've seen, right? It doesn't teach you how to do QA. It's more a test to ask you questions about if you know how to do QA. But it's not going to take you across the finishing line to get a job, especially entry level job. I also believe that there's not really any more entry level QA jobs unless you are coming out of college, and and a company is going to pretty much bring you in at a pretty much entry level position where the other QA engineers, QA testers, are going to help you build up, because a lot of times, like from what I see, right, the entry level QA jobs are they're kind of reserved for college graduates, right? So who graduated in computer science and they don't know anything about QA, but they're going, like, the company's going to help them learn and stuff like that. So I like it's ISTQB it's not going to secure an entry level job. Usually I see ISTQB required for like government contracting type positions. Like if a company is a government contractor, the government kind of require, like, they like to have ISTQB because they don't know anything about QA, so they think that's going to be the standard and that's going to make you a better QA. So I would say that I would definitely say try to build some more freelance experience as a tester. Also, I would say that you want to, with that freelance experience as a tester, you also want to build a QA portfolio. Continue to like, I don't know if you do automation yet, but you definitely want to get started in automation. That is going to be a huge key, because if you try to go into like just for manual testing, it's going to be super hard for you to land that position, because you need to separate yourself, right? A lot of these boot camps, they're going out there and they're saying, oh, make XYZ amount as a manual tester, but they are flooding the market, and it's not for me, from what I see at least. There's not many positions. We've done it on live stream before where we look for manual testing positions, and it's so hard to find. Everything is requiring automation. So go learn automation, and you need to do it good. You need to create some projects, build your portfolio, build your GitHub, write some defects and stuff like that. A lot of people, like, I think people they're addicted to certifications, right? They just want to get certification after certification. Certifications can be useful, but they need to be in the right place, right? If you just think that you're going to get a certification and then that's going to be the end all be all, you're going to be sadly mistaken, because having a certification just means you know how to take a test. It doesn't, and to pass a test, you might be a great test taker, but you don't have any practical knowledge or experience. I told this story in the past, like where I asked people who are very into the ISTQB certification. I'm like, all right, here's a practical question. How would you test this? And then they have a hard time answering how they would actually do the practical implementation. They get a very theoretical answer, and it's like, okay, cool. What's the steps you would take? And then they have trouble with that. So I would say you need to build up that practical knowledge. As you see on all the different live streams that we do here, we try different softwares. You need to make your resume impressive, and you need to have talking points so that in the interview you can actually talk about the things that you know, and you need to be able to ask great questions in your interviews as well. So if you want to level up your resume, you want to level up your interview taking skills, you want to level up the question that you ask in the interview, then you definitely want to check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev, so you can make it a little bit easier for you, then so that level up your skills. All right. So that is what I would say. The ISTQB is not really going to help. Is it going to hurt? It's definitely not going to hurt, but you can do better by checking out the coding challenges at Chaos Camp. You can build your QA portfolio. You can practice. Don't be like Allen Iverson, be like, practice. We talking about practice? Yes, we are talking about practice. You need to level up. So that's my thought on that. All right, we are going to our next question.
Another one.
Is there a Java course just for test automation? So we'll jump straight to the question. Is there a tutorial and or resource that teaches only test automation related topics of Java? Or is there a list of which Java topics I should learn? I heard that I don't need to learn everything about Java. My goal is to become an SDET if possible. Actually, I need a complete roadmap about test automation, but first I think I should start learning the test automation part of Java as soon as possible. So that is a good question. And I, for the most part, am of the belief that you do not need to learn every aspect of Java, but it's not for SDET, it is for just regular automation, right? I think that as it, so I think as it as that, you do have more responsibility when it comes to coding and algorithms and stuff like that. As a QA, as a QA engineer, you might not have like it. To me, there can be a difference between the two, right? Between SDET and QA engineer. And the thing is, right, although you don't need to learn like every aspect of Java because Java is super, super massive. It's just the same way you don't need to learn every aspect of Python or of C Sharp if you're just going to be doing automation. But you need to have a good understanding and the foundation of what things are, how to use them, you know. Let me see. So I would still say that find an automation course online that focuses on Java, right? It's the very first thing though, you need to make sure that your QA skills are on point, right? Because if your QA skills are not on point, then learning Java like automation related to Java, it's not going to do you much because you're not going to know what to test. You're not going to like if you think you're just going to like times are changing, right? Times are changing. It's not just that you're going to be getting test cases handed to you from someone and then you're just going to write those automated tests. And then you're just like, no, things are shifting, things are blending. So with that being said, you're going to have responsibility to manually test and then to automate it as well, so don't think that you're just going to be like doing a partial job because the more you can do, the more valuable you market yourself to be and the more responsibility and the better chance you're going to get to landing that job. So with that being said, you can get a Udemy course. That was how I got good at doing automation in Java, building frameworks and stuff like that. Was that I took a Udemy course and I followed along that. I was doing a lot of those things already, but it gave me a good foundation to center myself around. So with that being said, that's definitely going to help you, but you don't need, like I said, you don't need to learn everything about Java. I don't know if you limit your knowledge about Java, how that's going to help with becoming an SDET. Like, it just depends on the company, like the company's definition of SDET, like Andrew and I were talking about. You just, your question is a bit incomplete, right? Because you're going to want to learn a good deal about object-oriented programming, in this case Java, right? But you do not want to do a half job, right? You want to make sure that you understand the foundations of like what encapsulation is, what can't even talk, but how to instantiate your objects and things like that. All of those things matter, and you're not going to learn that by saying, okay, how to write the page object model. Oh, how to like click here, click here, click here. You're good, like especially as an SDET, you're going to want to be working on frameworks. You're going to want to be figuring out loops and stuff like that. There's many things that's going to go into it. So I don't want you to think that like you're gonna get a good overview of Java, and then you're going to start writing automation tests. You're like I said, you're not going to go into all the aspects of it, but it's still going to be a lot, right? So don't try to half-a it, okay? So just wanted to share that. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, let's get to our next question. And before we do that, right? If you are watching, let me see if there's anything in the chat first as well. Oh, I do have some chat. So let's see. But yeah, so if you are enjoying the show, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. Like the video, share the video, all that good stuff. Check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev, where you can definitely sign up for free and see what I have in there. And you can get one-on-one coaching as well. So definitely check that out. So Tech Takeover says, I got the 100 Days of Python that Tech Coach Ralph suggested, and it is a good course. I just started it, but it is engaging so far. I believe in what TCR suggests. He will stir you right.
I appreciate you.
Thank you for that, Tech Takeover. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that course. Like, it helped me a lot, and I feel so much more comfortable in Python now. So, and if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Definitely hit me up. And D Set, my good pal D, welcome to the show. Said this is true. Automation is the way to go. Yep. So, like I was saying, right? Don't try to stick, like, I don't know. Some people they're like, oh, manual. I'm like, but there's no manual jobs, right? They love manual testing, but there's no manual jobs. The last person who I spoke to, who was in a manual role, was for a company that I interviewed for, and he's been at that company for a very long time, and he's been doing manual testing for a very long time. So, there's the people who do manual testing, they hold on to their roles, all right? So definitely learn automation, be dynamic, be fluent, and go from there. So that is my recommendation to you, as always. You're going to have to do manual anyways, right? So you might as well learn automation and separate yourself from the crowd. So thank you for that, D. I truly, truly appreciate it. Appreciate that comment, as all of your other comments are always so well valued, all right? So let's go to our next question.
Another one.
Is it a good idea to combine software testing with cybersecurity? So before we go any further, I'm just going to say, yes, it is a great idea. All right, so here's the question. As a current software tester, I'm curious if adding cybersecurity skills and relevant certifications, such as certifications for a pen tester, would increase my chances of securing a higher paying job. Are there companies that look for individuals with expertise in both software testing and cybersecurity? So that is a great question. Let's start our timer. So I say it is a wonderful and amazing idea. As you see here on this channel, where we are heavily QA software engineering dominated, but I dedicate a week to the month for cybersecurity, where I bring up my good friend Socks and we answer questions like we're doing tonight, right? We answer questions, and we've also had questions from people who are interested, who are learning QA, but they're also interested in cybersecurity as well. I think that it is a wonderful opportunity for any QA / software tester to get into cybersecurity. Like, to me, they are very, very much related. They just have they focus a little bit differently, but they're very related. Why are they so related? Because as a QA engineer, software tester, as that whatever role that you want to call yourself, it is very important to so not only is your number one goal is customer satisfaction, but it's also security. So customer security, company security, personal security, all that stuff, right? So if you increase your skills, and let's say you get a certification as a penetration tester, right? Can you would you increase your chances? Of course, you're going to increase your chances, right? The more unique you make yourself, the better chances you are for a better paying job. It's simple math, right? Make yourself unique, stand out from the rest, and you have a better chance. Not a hard concept, I suppose, right? So that's why, and you see, that's why you see me dip and dab into like the cybersecurity stuff. Always talking to stocks. Always looking to add value to each other. But as well, you see me going into Terraform, right? Like Terraform is not necessarily cybersecurity, but it is something that that extends my skills to be able to do more. Like Andrew was talking about, he was talking about, you might be going into Ansible. I have a course on DevOps that we're going to be taking after we're done with Terraform to see how that, like, how we can, move more into Terraform, to DevOps type stuff. And I want to be able to see, like, okay, how can I leverage my QA skills with this new information that I'm learning for DevOps and stuff like that. QA helps you can help you as a software engineer as well, because if you bring the mindset of testing to your code, then you're going to see it from a different perspective as well. So what I'm saying is, like, adding cybersecurity skills is definitely going to help you. If you add relevant certifications, because certifications are very, very important in cybersecurity, right? So if you add the certifications, it's going to put you in a better position. It's going to make you more marketable. You're going to be able to apply for these particular type of jobs. And then if let's say you like somehow you're able to add on those security clearances as well, even better. So the number one goal that you want to do so that you can secure higher paying jobs is separate yourself from the crowd, right? And whether that's by adding particular skills, by getting particular certifications, all that type of stuff, right? Get the things that people need, like the companies need and want, and then now put it on your resume. Make sure you market yourself properly, and they're gonna come out there and go after you, right? It's simple math. Simple math. All right. So just wanted to put it out there like that. It's definitely gonna help you, right? So just throwing that out there. Definitely, if you can do it, right? Our company's looking for individuals with expertise in both software testing and cybersecurity. Absolutely. Cybersecurity is a new wave, and try to find different roles in cybersecurity that focus more on testing instead of broad roles, because cybersecurity is not an actual role. It's an industry, right? So if you try to pair and leverage what you know as a software tester and what you can do as something in the field of cybersecurity, it will take you a very, very long way. All right. So just wanted to share that with you as well. All right. Let's go to our next question.
Another one.
Is Python enough? Hello. A recent graduate is thinking of learning more about testing roles. Would Python be enough to get by, or would I need to learn Java in order to get a job? So let's start our clock on that one. And it depends on the company that you're working for, right? Python might be enough if the company works primarily in Python, but I don't like when people limit their skills, especially as a recent graduate, right? And I'll say this, right? A QA role, like in testing roles, it's not as much about the language as the concepts, right? From what I've seen, they do not teach anything about testing. Maybe a little bit of unit testing, right? But for the most part, they don't teach about testing in college whatsoever. So I would say more than worrying about Python to get by, I would probably focus on taking some type of comprehensive testing course where they're talking about the different type of testing, white box, black box, gray box, unit testing, functional testing. What other testing is there? There's the integration testing, the end-to-end testing, the automation testing, the regression testing, the retesting, the beta testing, the alpha testing, smoke testing. I would like take a course I would find a course that would focus on all of those, because they don't teach that in college, right? And if you can come out of college or close to out of college with actually knowing these skills, then you put yourself in a much better position to land that job, right? It's not necessarily about Python or Java or C sharp. If you know Python, you can probably ramp up to Java for testing purposes. If you're doing automation already, but you're not necessarily going to like it's not like for testing in particular, right? It's not as much about the language as the concepts of being able to test properly, test comprehensively. Think about the risk that's going to happen. See things from a customer perspective, from a customer point of view. And that's part of the problem that like I see with like with computer science and those type of majors who go and apply for QAs, that they don't know, like, and it's not their fault. Like, trust me, it is not their fault at all that they don't know much about QA. It's just not something that they teach in college. It is what it is. So I would say that my recommendation to any recent graduate or someone who's about to graduate, who's been applying for some testing positions, right? Find some additional help, right? And by additional help, that could be as simple as a Coursera course or Udemy course. Find some QA engineers to find out, like, hey, what should I like? I'm about to graduate college. What should I look into if I wanted to get into a testing role, like a software QA type role? And we'll tell you, like, okay, these are the things that you're going to need to know. Have the proper foundation, exploratory testing, for example, right? Because if, from what I've seen, right, interviewing people people who are like computer science degrees, like recent computer science grads, they don't know much about like the testing outside of the unit test. So if you can stand out a little bit, right, and say, oh yeah, like I've studied this type of testing. Oh, how do you do it? Because I know they don't teach in college. Oh, I took this course, I took that course, I did this and that. Like, oh wow, okay, so this person definitely showed initiative to learning this stuff. So I definitely want to work a little bit more with them and help them grow into their career in QA. That's how I would say that would be my advice. So, but yeah, would Python be enough? It would be fine, but not to necessarily get by. It might be enough to get by for a particular language, but it's not going to be enough to get by in QA and testing as a whole. And I'll definitely recommend you to like take some courses that are going to help you understand QA, comprehensively, and how to be a great software tester and not just somebody who knows how to write a little bit of code in Python. All right. So that is my perspective on that. Hopefully that helps. All right, let's move on we have 2 more to go tonight. So let's start with, let me get some water first and we'll get to the next one. All right.
Another one.
Let's do that one more time since the clock ran off on us.
Another one.
What do I need to have in my portfolio as a QA? I am planning to move from mobile manual testing to QA web and mobile. What do I need / want to have on GitHub to, what in the world did somebody just... Thank you so much, Roderick, for signing up to the channel, for subscribing. I truly, truly appreciate you. All right. So thank you if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat and I will make sure to address your questions as soon as I am done with this question. All right. So let's get back to that question. It says, what do I need / want to have on a GitHub to show that I have a good understanding of automation? At the moment, I have almost 2 years of experience. Cool. So I am supposing that you have 2 years of experience with automation QA. So all right, let's put the 5 minutes up, right? I would say one of the strongest things that you can have on your, which if you don't have it, right? Like, let's say I was reviewing it, I wouldn't count it against you. But if you do have it, I would give you some. I give you like some points on that. Like, okay, cool, great, right? And it doesn't even have to be perfect, right? But I would say if you were to build a framework, right? It doesn't have to be super fancy, but if you can build a framework that you can, all right. I'm gonna tell you what would impress me, right? So if you build a framework and you have it, like let's say you do it in Java, you can do it in Python, whatever you do it in, right? But you have it where it is reusable across multiple projects, right? So, and it's not that you're just copying that same framework into the different projects. No, no, no. If you have that framework where it's, let's say it's like a Maven repo where you can import it, like you, because I've seen it. Bonnie Garcia's WebDriver manager, right? That like where you can pull it in from GitHub as a Maven repo. So let's say you do it as a Maven repo where you can pull it in to any project, right? So let's say any automation project you start, you can just pull in that repo, and then you can use it from there and go from there. That I'd be very, very impressed by that, right? And same thing if you do it as a Python package as well, where you can pull it in. That would be super, super impressive, because that is no small feat where you can have the same project work across multiple or the same framework work across multiple projects, right? So, and then it's what do you have as part of that framework? So maybe you have exit reports, right? If you're doing Java, where it can generate like these nice looking reports and stuff like that. Maybe you have a way for it to connect with report portal, right? Maybe you have it logging or something like that. It just depends on what the features that you have of it, right? So I would say definitely that would be something that I would be like, okay, wow, that is pretty impressive, and I would definitely want to hear more about that project. And to add to your portfolio, if you had, I would like to see like your page object manager, right? Like, or not page, your POM, right? So like I want to see how you set that up, your selectors, if you're using the page factory, things like that. I would want to see how those look. That would definitely be something to be, to look into. I would want to see what else would I want to see in a portfolio? So I would want to see, definitely I want to see some example of test cases that you've written, some example of defects that you've written. We use Kiwi test case management system to set up via Docker to set that up so that we could document our test cases, our test executions, our defects. And that would be a good thing to show in an interview, right? Like a lot of times people like put their GitHubs on their resumes and stuff like that. 9 times out of 10, a recruiter, the hiring manager, is not necessarily going to look at it. The technical interview might look at it, but it depends, right? But I would say that you need to use your resume as a talking point in an interview, right? Where I said your resume. You need to use your GitHub as a talking point, right? So you can say, oh yeah, and I built this portfolio, and they're like, oh, like what do you mean by a portfolio? And you can say, okay, if you go to my GitHub and you look at this I created this framework here. So you can check out my selectors here, and you can walk them through the code and stuff like that. You can show some Docker stuff. You can show some Terraform. All that stuff that you do, that is part of your portfolio. Put it in GitHub. Remember, don't push up any AWS secrets. You don't want your thing hacked. But you want to put all of those things out there so that you can use them to talk about in resumes. Like if you start throwing out words like, oh, I use Docker, like in an interview, right? In a technical interview, like, oh, I use Docker. Oh, I used like Google Cloud Platform developer keys. I use AWS, like, and you're saying, and you can articulate how you use them, how you made them, like, then it's going to be like, wow, this is pretty impressive. I want to hear more about this person, and then like they're going to ask you questions, and you're going to be able to answer them because you actually use these things. Because like for me, I can talk about AWS Amplify, I can talk about Terraform, I can talk about Fargate, I can talk about every single thing that we've done on these live streams. I can talk about them, right? Are they going to be the cleanest? Not necessarily, but I am comfortable enough to talk about them. Like, oh, I use Fargate for serverless containers. Oh, I use Amplify to deploy an application. Oh, I used Terraform to build infrastructure around the application. I use Terraform to set up EC2 instances. Like so many things you could talk about. I compared Python to Java, one of my earlier streams, right? And I did side by side automation of Uber Eats, right? So many different things you could talk about, but the purpose of the portfolio is not to just showcase your work. It is for talking points in an interview. Like, I cannot stress that enough. You need to be able to bring up the work that you did. You need to be able to show your work in these interviews. And you say, oh yeah, and I did this, I did that, I did that. Like one of the things I used in a prior interview was, oh, I used Google Sheets as a data provider, right, for my automated tests, so that I didn't have to use an Excel sheet hard coded. So like now when I make a change to the Excel sheet, I need to commit it. No, I can just pull that data from a Google Sheet, and it's totally externalized, and people can add to it, edit to it, make backups of it and stuff like that, right? So that to me is how you properly set up your resume for your portfolio for interview stuff, right? So just wanted to share that. Hopefully you find that helpful. All right, we are going to our very last question, but before we do that, I would like to ask you to, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time we go live. Like the video, share the video, check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev, where you can level up your technical skills. All right. So we are getting into our very last question of the night. Before I do that, I need to send a text message real quick. All right, so let's get some water, and then we're going to get to our last question. All right, so the very last question for tonight.
Another one.
How do you cope with seeing friends/others way successful in their career? I did a bachelor's degree in industrial and systems engineering. I don't remember why I did it. I was in a bachelor's in computer science, but decided to change it to industrial. I have a friend who I've met when she was a sophomore on computer science. We were in the same club. I had the same opportunity as her for a scholarship and chose not to go. After she took the scholarship for a women's conference where you can get an internship, her success began from it, and she began to have opportunities from even NASA, yes, NASA, and went twice. The next one was a big company, Apple, and then she got a full-time job at Google. As of right now, I feel that she is better than me. I did nothing with my bachelor's. Even if I choose to go to the scholarship, I couldn't because I wasn't qualified. I was in a student visa while she was a U.S. resident. I got my green card until the last year of my graduation as industrial which I couldn't do internships anymore. And I have been wasting my time thinking of maybe so maybe I hopefully one day get a job in Google as she did. I feel so awful and so sad. I couldn't let this out of my head. She is doing very great and traveling around the world while I'm doing nothing with my life. How do you cope when you see other people on your dream job and doing what you wanted to do one day? Well, that is a good question that you ask. How do you deal when people have the success that you wanted but didn't work as hard for? So, how do I feel when I see people are doing successful and when they are where that I would want to be? Well, I don't have many friends that would be in that necessary position, but there are people that I see that they are doing great, they're doing wonderful, and that I might want to be in that position one day. You know what? This is what I do. I do this. I 100% celebrate their success. And I look at myself and I say, you know what? I need to work harder, right? I am a very, very, very good at creating competition, even when they don't know that they're my competition. And I say, you know what? If that's where I want to be, I am going to work my butt off. And I'm going to go and crush it because there is nothing, I repeat, there is nothing that is stopping you from getting to where you want to be. You see, if you're looking at your friend and you're jealous, then you're doing it wrong. See, here's the problem. Part of the problem is that she was focused, right? And you were not as focused. She decided to say, okay, I'm going to stick to computer science and I am going to take every opportunity that is presented to me. A lot of times we do not take the opportunities that are presented to us because who knows? Like you were in computer science, but you switched it for industrial engineering. And the question is, did you properly do the adequate research to see, okay, if I switch to industrial engineering and systems engineering, what are my options, right? A lot of times we make these decisions that make us feel good or they sound good, but they do not necessarily correlate to what is going to be beneficial to us in the long run, right? So I highly, highly commend your friend as she took initiative and she was focused and she used everything to her advantage. She got a women's scholarship, or she got a scholarship to a women's conference, and it got her an internship, and she got to NASA. Yes, I repeat, NASA, and then to Apple, and then to Google, right? But guess what? You do not need to feel jealous or anything like that. You need to work harder. You need to, I would say, because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Part of the problem that I see, especially when people have bachelors, right? You probably have most of the credits that you need already taken care of that you can go back to school. And you can go back to school and you can like transfer like some credits so that you can get that computer science degree, right? You already went to school for 4 years to get a bachelor's. Like taking some more courses to get the right bachelor's, right? Should be like it shouldn't be that tough of a decision for you to make, right? Especially if you're looking at your friends who actually made it in something similar that you were doing, then you should go and you should put in the extra work so that you can do it too. I've said this before, right? So many times people like they'll go to college and they'll go for and I'm not saying like industrial or systems engineering is a bad degree. I have no idea about that degree. All I know is that you're having trouble finding a job with it. But I would say go back to school and like let's stop going to school for useless degrees, right? If you can spend the time for a useless degree, stop trying to sideswipe the degree that you want to get you paid, right? Andrew was talking about it earlier, like, oh, you're trying to make Netflix money, but you're spending boot camp time trying to get Netflix money. Do some people make it? Supposedly, allegedly, right? I haven't, like, I don't know someone who works for Netflix who went to a boot camp and stuff like that. I'm thinking I don't know someone who works for, actually I do know somebody who works for Netflix. I take that back, right? But I would say that put in the time, study properly. Like, you're like, you can do it because you did it before in industrial and systems. So put in the time, get the education that you need so that you can apply for these scholarships. Like, you're a resident now, so you can apply for these scholarships. You can also get more opportunity, right? All the job applications, they're saying that that they're looking for computer science and stuff like that. So, it is harder when you are older trying to do that. But if you're still young, right? Don't be jealous of your friends. Use that as motivation. Use that as inspiration. I look at everything as an opportunity. I look at everything as motivation and inspiration. But you have to be disciplined, right? You have to be disciplined to go after your goals very, very strategically, very, very carefully, right? I don't know. That's how I am, at least, right? That's how I am. When I see my friends are doing well, or they're successful and stuff like that, then that just motivates me to work harder to be successful as well. It's ironing. It's ironing. Jesus Christ. It's iron sharpening iron. That's how I see it. I love to see my friends doing great. I love to see my friends successful, and that motivates me to be even greater and to be more successful. And that way, as I pass them, then they're going to pass me, and then I'm gonna pass them, and we're just gonna keep running it up. We're going to make it to the top, right? So that's how I see it, right? I say you're gonna have to work harder. Like, you might have made and you graduated last year, right? So you might have made a bad decision in switching to industrial, but guess what? It is not too late to fix it. So you can easily, like, I don't know if you're working yet, but you can easily take on, like, see what it's going to cost you to pivot, go back into computer science, maybe get a job, maybe try QA to get started, or you can get a job. If you go back, you might be a software engineer, whatever the case may be, but, like, just don't. Your feelings are not going to help you, right? You need to put it aside, and because feeling awful and sad not going to do anything for you, put it aside, get back to work, grind, and get the education that you need, get the skills that you need. Stop caring about if somebody is doing great and traveling, and you're doing, like, you're just throwing a pity party at this point, right? Get to work. Simple as that. When you start to feeling down, focus on the work. That's what I do. When I feel tired, down, annoyed, whatever the case may be, I lock myself in and I focus on the work, because that is the only solution that's going to take you out of your rut. Just do better, right? Do better. So that is my advice for you tonight, all right? So that is our questions for tonight. Hopefully you found that helpful and informative. I thank Andrew for popping up tonight. Still got this lingering cough that's leaving soon. So, yeah, that is our show. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. But I do have a question for you, and that question is:
are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
I am thoroughly entertained. I am so happy to be back with you guys to do this Q&A night. We had some great questions, especially with J Dubs kicking us off, and we had our special guest appearance by Andrew popping in. Always a pleasure. And my good friend Operation Tech Takeover, and D with the cameo. So shout out to all of you guys. Oh my goodness. And then we have good guy. Good guy, you be popping in on me sometimes, you know?
Good guy.
And I did pretty good with the clock too tonight, right, good guy? I did pretty good with the clock, I must say. All right. So that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully that you found it helpful. And we will be back again next week, Tuesday, inside of a new year, 2024. We are going to work so hard in 2024. There is nowhere to go but up. We're not going down. We are going up straight to the moon, to infinity and beyond. But if you have not done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every single time we go live. Like the video, share the video, all that good stuff. Check out the Patreon one more time at www.techcoachralph.dev. But until next time, this is Tech Coach Ralph signing off.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts. Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again. Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Hear me, warriors of the North. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes indeed defeated, and their lands are now bow before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination. These are the very essence of our people. It's been our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla. For today, we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the present pain, the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers, watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. As we celebrate this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles upon us forth. And the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow we set our sights on new horizons, uncharted land where our banners will fly high. We are Vikings, we're barbarians, we are masters of conquest.